Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter. And I am in a special video today. So right now the ascendant is ruled by Saturn, which is in 18 degrees Pisces and 12 degrees ascendant Capricorn. And the midheaven 0 degrees Scorpio with Mars conjuncting Aries in Aries. It's basically already Saturn night and Mars hour. So Jupiter, that's ruling Saturn, is conjuncting Mercury in Gemini, just releasing from the Jupiter conjunction to Sedna and Mercury conjunction to Sedna and the trine to Pluto. Sun and Venus conjuncting together, and I refer you to Astro Victor for what it means, for deep, good, accurate insight. And mundane astrology is accounting for the possibilities. It's not the magic that you do on a personal reading level. And so I want to talk about basic practical steps that you can take today with basic practical things you need, so to ensure you create with your genuine benevolence, good wealth for you for the times to come. And this is getting very important for the world. Okay, very, very important for the world. First, I want to talk about the body. Okay, particularly right now the moon is applying to Uranus in Taurus, so I'm going to call on Beta Persei and I'll go. Speaking the truth. If you got, let's say, congestion around the throat, to speak up, speak the truth, call on Gold, call on Beta Persei, you're protected. And speaking the truth. Now is the time. Now is the time. When it comes to food, if you got food, you're making food, two things: what can last out in the weather, make sure you put food in random locations in the street. Okay, put food in random locations in the street. If you want to give it to homeless people, it's okay, but beyond that, make sure you leave food out that can last in the street. If you have water, make sure you leave water that can last in the street. Okay, I want you to create benevolence. I want you to create good karma around always having food. What more to do with food? If you got pets, give them of the food that you eat that is the best food that you eat that they can also eat. So let's say meat, the best meat that you eat, give them a little bit. Okay, and also I want you to leave out a plate for your ancestors. Okay, I want you to leave out a plate of food for your ancestors. You make food for you, even if you live alone, make food for you and your ancestors. If you're too tired to set intention to do it, just put something, give a glass of water. First, your animals can climb up and later eat it if you have pets, and they won't regret it. So you put the food in a plate, prepare it like you prepare for a guest. Okay, and you dedicate it to your ancestors. If you're doing ancestors practice, reverence, great. If not, some of you, I have seen people receive, what is 22, why do I see 22 all the time? It can be ancestors trying to contact you, to prepare you for your next steps. So I want you to not be worried. If you're viewing this video, very likely you're on your path, okay? And so one way to connect with ancestors is to prepare a plate of food, of the best food that you eat yourself. Don't live only for ancestors, but do eat yourself from this food. I want you to share food with your ancestors, with your pets, what they can eat, and leave food that can last in the street. Also, I want you to find soil. Find a soil, okay? And you go up with food like compost, like leftovers of what you have. So whether it's your soil, or if you don't have soil, or if you don't live around soil, find a place where there is soil, where it's allowed for you to step. I want you to put some food, some leftovers in the soil, bury it in the soil, feed the earth, okay? Bury it in the soil, okay? Those things where you give money, where you give, money, yes, for money, when you have cash, right? When you have cash, I want you to take some cash, and I want you to leave some cash, even coins, even whatever you can, yes, in the street, random places in the street, where it's for homeless people are, random places in the street, around bus stations. Yes, you don't have to have anybody seen when you're doing that. Just when you have, leave. Okay, so leave money, leave food, feed soil. Okay, extra step you can take up, if it's a place where it's allowed for you to take up a little bit of soil. Okay, take up a little bit of soil, and I want you to bless this soil in whichever way you know, in whichever way you can. I want you to bless this soil. Begin to bless houses, okay? I want you to begin to bless land, begin to bless houses, and begin to bless people, of course. Okay, so continue to do that. Those things are going to assist you connect with your roots, and are going to bring in a motion of energy around the basic needs. Okay, so housing, yes, soil, fertile soil, to bless the soil. Okay, if you speak the truth, now is the time to speak. And you will see when your body tells you to speak, if you have like a throat sore and you speak, after that you feel better, you understand you need to speak. You speak the truth, then it's just protected. You're protected in speaking the truth. I want you to know about the Imagination podcast for when you feel things that is like, what the heck is going on? It's very strange. Maybe I'm going crazy. I want you to know about the Imagination podcast that can answer some questions to you. Okay? Things like that are going globally, and I want you to have the correct information for how to tackle this, how to do return to sender, not to specific person, but to sender known and unknown, and not involve children and people innocent. Because things are sending things, very horrid things, and we're not perpetuating evil here. Okay, we're just shielding back. Also, I want you to know that to speak the truth, even though you address things that are difficult, okay? Like video I did yesterday, where you address corruption, where you address things are difficult, you know that the next day gonna sleep is going to come release of the energy, solutions. You're gonna have ideas. I want you to act on these ideas. And now I want to tell you a story. So yesterday I spoke about all the difficulty with businesses, and I went to the mall. Today I went to the same mall, and I was called, I'm a aromatherapist, to do a blend with salt that you use. You put oils in it and you smell it. Okay, put it in a bottle, and there's also talisman. And there's a business, and I tell the name of the business because it's a good business. They've been existing since 1879 in Jaffa, Palestine, Israel. And so one day, the name of the business, Abulafia. It's a bakery. They make great food. If you're ever around Jaffa, you must go to Abulafia. Great, great place. Very affordable relative to Israel, yes. But I think one day the son of the owners was shot by Jewish terrorists. Why? Maybe somebody from the family was killed and they're doing blood revenge. But what Abulafia was very smart. What he did, he put $100,000 and deposited it for the local synagogue. This was an act of business, but it's also an act of politics, and its act is very human. Still, whenever people would demonstrate for Palestinians, even the people that they would say chickens to, wanted to say JFK, KFC, okay, but they would demonstrate around the roundabout where the big old clock is in Jaffa. Why? Okay, a couple of meters from there would be Abulafia. And I'm not even sure all these young people knew about the story. You make the money move towards peace that is genuine benevolence. So put the energy where you want to go. Not blood revenges, not Hamula wars, not tribal wars. And this business, we're in 2024, still exists, has a shop in the Azrieli Mall, which is one of the biggest malls in Israel. Okay? Affordable prices still. Affordable prices always. So I made one blend for me. Then I made one blend. I bought something from some food to eat. I say I give this present for the business. And this blend was elemi oil and bitter orange oil. It was made from the fruit bitter orange. Why? To keep harmony and to bring peace. I didn't tell them why I give this. I didn't tell them why I picked this business. They were very nice to me. They made me extra coffee. Very hospitable. And why does this story matter? Because if you see yesterday what happened, I talked about all the things that I saw right in the same mall and exposed the corruption. And then when the tower of cards of the corruption fell, what stood up was this business existing from 1879, still standing, that dealt with conflict in one of the most conflictual areas on earth. This is the Middle East, this is Israel, Palestine, Jaffa. Before it was Tel Aviv. Still standing, lost a son to Jewish terrorists. Okay? And put money, $100,000 for synagogue. For local synagogue. Soldiers, always, all the soldiers, when they come, they have food, whatever. Always go by there. And you don't even need to make special price because the prices are affordable. Still affordable. So I said, what this business has, this wisdom. Yes, I'm paying reverence to that. And I want you to know, do not be afraid to expose corruption. Because what will happen, you shed light, it's like a tower of cards of what is corrupt, it's going to fall like a tower of cards. Even in armies, even in military, what's corrupt is going to fall like a tower of cards. But if we still stay standing, it's those that were making these choices and had perhaps the lineage, the privilege, the money, the wealth, absolutely. And just as I say this, I'm telling you another thing. I want you to commemorate for every field that you can think, all the people from inside the system that saved people, that faked the documents and did not put poison in the blood of people, the doctors, and I want you to commemorate those that were silenced, were shadow banned, maybe are homeless. That's why I want you to put food in the street. I want you to put money in the street. If you got sleeping bags, if you can afford to buy, put in the street. If it's winter where your hemisphere is, let's say Australia, buy socks, put in the street, just put in the street. So the place where it's dry, put in the street. Not through any other, not through any other. Directly, you put it, you go. So when all the corruption falls, your socks, your food, your sleeping bag, your soil, your housing stands still and is falling like a tower of cards. And I want us all to commemorate those whistleblowers who are no longer with us. They're no longer with us in physical, but I want you to know, or when you leave a plate of food, I want you to think about all these people. I want you to leave the plate of food also for them. That's going to unlock the gates of wealth that have been previously there for you, all waiting all along for you to understand and tap into them. And one by one was corrupt from like a tower of cards around you. You get deeper connection, deeper wealth, deeper well-being. For everything that you see, I need, okay? Buy two. For now, Jupiter is in Gemini, buy two. If you have anything, you have two. One, give it away. Everything, for as long for you, for when you have, don't be afraid. Even if you are right now in the street, if you're homeless, if you can have something, if you have for you, and put one for someone you don't even know who that someone is. It's going to move the wealth around. And you'd be surprised how much homeless people know about moving the wealth around, because they're constantly generous, they're constantly giving, and they're not to blame that there is corruption of the people, a shadow band. have no idea how much wealth move around. I remember a while ago, got a message for someone that 2021, 2022, when I was in shelters in Netherlands, they were there and they said, please, I want to know if you're okay, if you have house. We got housing, all of us, we helped each other. I want to know if you're okay. Okay? Now, because I exposed corruption, I didn't get housing, but it's also, I want you to tell you this story because when I was looking at my chart for astrocartography and looking at relocation chart, I was lucky that I was in shelter, because in shelter was no problem. It was revolution, is what I made to do. Had ascendant Capricorn, then Sagittarius would be the shelter, where I made revolutions, Uranus. But then my fourth house, if I would get housing there, and have my family there, yes, would be ruled by Mars 22 degree in Scorpion the 11th. For this house would be known for murder. And indeed, they offered me to house me the community with someone that they helped in the community, but later I found out. I was driving in the car with him, and he said, you have no idea how many girls I saved from this, from that. Then I was one night in a house of a woman that later I would find out they would want to put me in place where it's not willing consent. But for the one night that I was there, and I told her, yes, very nice person. She made him dinner, and she said to me, I told her, yes, he told me he's saving a lot of women and so on, it's nice. And she said to me, was that before or after he kills them? Okay, so that was serial killer. Okay, but maybe that was his job, to judge anybody for what they have to do for living conditions, very difficult even in the best of countries. But this happened for astrology, because even though the country was the best of countries, for me, my natal chart, it would put my fourth house known for murder. Okay? Yes, in Israel, a bit indirect. I was in threat of murder when I was a baby, but that threat was removed. Okay? For to put this Mars in the ninth. So I give you teachings about those things. Okay, whenever has the time, when anybody, yes. But I want you to understand sometimes the things that are not meant to come for you, even within the corruption, you see that what's yours, you will get. People, no matter how much energy they put into trying to delay you, okay, it's going to go back to them. The tower of corruption is going to fall for when you are ready to accept what's good for you, when it's the timing, the election, the good election, okay, then you will accept what's meant for you, for as long as it is within your path and so on. So I want you to know this too. Okay? So, and what's happened eventually was all good. As where I was, it was in shelter, it was safer for me than in Israel for sure, and then to be housed. And so all the people around me, they got housing. They were helped. Yes, those who stayed, yes. But for me, it was corruption. But I was lucky, because for that I would be housed, it would not be good for me, not there. Okay, just astrology, astrocartography. Maybe with parents you can change and so on, yes, but why mess with that? But still got a lot from the country, and I give back to the people from whenever I can. So, those are things that are going to be very, very useful But when you move the energy around, it's very, very practical, okay? You just working with what you currently have together with what you don't. Moving the energy around. Work with what you have together what you don't. This was my motto when I did my very first movie in high school, and it's still working today. If I don't have something, I work with what I have, then put my focus there and move the energy around. And benevolence, genuine benevolence, is great energy to move the energy around, feed the soil. If you can grow something, you will find it. Make trial and error and see what's good for you to grow. You see that you grow with what you grow. Okay, garlic is great for breakthroughs in general. Tomatoes, relational connections, fruit of your labor, passion, kind of like a second chakra healing when you grow tomatoes. That's what I noticed. Peppers, good for labor, not I don't know if labor like in general, but labor in the sense that you're going to easily go the extra mile to water it. You're going to easily go through the extra mile. What more have I been growing? Yes, rosemary. Rosemary. Give of rosemary. If you grow rosemary, give of rosemary. Or give to people also for protection. Just give to people around. This brings a ton of magic. It was accompanying me when I was between houses. Same, lavender. Yes. Geranium. When you grow geranium, both the medical and not the medical, it helps you with nurturing. You become more nurturing person. You're also nurtured by the plant. It's the plant wisdom. Even if you don't drink the tea, it's the plant wisdom. Mugwort or wormwood. Wormwood, mugwort, they do something. They cleanse the horror. I call them horror cleansing. When you grow them, I call them horror cleansing. They will expose the truth, shield you. They get to the bottom of things. If you put them with soil, and if you have menstruation, a little bit of menstrual blood, I'm not here. I know it's like it's pink. If you know what you're doing, yes. But if not, without the blood is okay. Soil for when this grows, and a couple of leaves you put there. This cleanses the horror away from your life. Everything that's horrifying in your life, it cleanses, it cleanses the soil, it turns the soil. It's fumigation, even is something that is just so cleansing, psychically cleansing, removes all disease. And then you would find the herbs. Right now I found sage. It's coming back to me. Sage. Okay, lavender. Make salt with lavender to make talismans. If not, just astrological talismans, just talismans. Okay? Very simple things, practical things. Potatoes. First of all, it's edible. Potatoes greet me everywhere. I grow potatoes, they greet me everywhere. Growing potatoes, just love it. Remember the meat and potatoes. Give of potatoes, okay, but you grow, already given food. If you make a meal and you put it in like a fridge, or if you give it to someone, you're in more progress than me. Yes, more progress than me. But when you want the energy to cook good, have food. And now we have the moon in the 5th lunar mansion. Very, very lucky. So I share this lucky information with you and I call on the fifth lunar mansion energy a little bit to amp up Moon in Taurus, okay, the eurekas, the hope. If you suffer from a temperature, yes, both food can change that. Crystals that are cooling, if it's warm or warming, warming herbs, okay, but like cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, and they're cooling herbs like mint. I think also sage. There is Avis alba oil, essential oil, where it's very balancing for temperature. Okay, it's a bit more for when you can afford this. Mint, we know, even if you put mint in a diffuser, it can cool up the room. Okay, and if you have anything where you what helps to balance temperature, to cool the place, leave it also outside. Okay, to balance the temperature. Anything that is helping you for self-preservation. Again, reiterating on messages of what I shared today, self-preservation. I want you to be benevolent with this resource. It's now important. I am third generation, two survivors of the Second World War, of all sides of the family. Okay? And in these situations where you want to share for what you have and be benevolent, and you make it a habit, then you see is coming to you. So much so that you will walk around the soil, will walk around the earth, and the earth will be your oysters. The world is your oyster. The world will be your home, because wherever you go, you will find. I gave this, and I want to tell you. A decade ago, 10 years ago, I was watching videos by, it was Teal Swan. I know she's like, oh, she's exposed for this, for that, but I also keep what I'm grateful for that was useful for me. Okay? And she survived the Mormon cult. So I think to expose the cults, if you want not to have cults, then she did for exposure of cults. So those are things she did good. And if things need to change, then whatever. Everybody has their path. And it was about imagination. I imagined a small sphere where it was like these little tiny glass balls that you play, the pebbles, where you play, which the children play. And then I used to see them in the street, but I didn't know if it was like, oh, children are playing in the street where I was living. 10 years after, I forgot about this, 10 years after, I was working the soil. The children came to help me. And one of the children uncovers a pebble. I'm like, damn. On the soil far at my house. Then I was doing another half moon, digging, and then found another pebble. And I almost started crying. Because many things, I knew this house was for me. It was Rosemary was accompanying me when I was in the Netherlands, everywhere. And then in this house there were some leaves from rosemary. The first time I tried to grow herbs, I tried to grow basil and sage and this and that, but I didn't know I have to bring them into a bigger plant. Okay, and they all died, but the rosemary is now in my garden. She stood still for preserving. Until I learned that I need a bigger plant, and I repented that I had mistake that I did, and I didn't bring enough place And also for me, before I moved house, I said, and the channeling was that I need a bigger place for myself. The pebbles found me too. Okay, and I want to tell you that because in between that, there was what I now define as was kidnapped, went through psychic torture in the guise of healing. I was doing a Wu Wei, yes, but it's not that I was agreeing to supposedly go in this way, not that way, because I was psychically attacked. And that was before 7th of October, inside Israel. Yes, I don't know its energy has been either used in this way, or but whatever happened to him, he was threatening my life. That's happened. Within those years, went to the Me Too era, and I felt it was bothering. It's not like the sexual harassment, and this, and that. It was something of energy form. It would only be after 7th of October, my Facebook friend would say villages felt like they hear comments from Gaza. Of what I did for Israel Palestine, I cannot right now speak again. At this point, I think when the time is right, I will say that. Right now, and when Israeli says there wasn't anybody that didn't know anybody, they don't mean the 400s. It took me even time to understand, because it's 9 million people. How come 1400s? No, 1400s. It's not 1400. It's decades for people who were kidnapped, for tortured in hospitals. Why? Ask the WHO, which now has Israeli doctor. This is a part of what's been happening in the world. I want you again to turn to Imagination Podcast. And I want you to listen again and again and again to the tips that I give you and start applying today. Because the steps that you take, the life affirming choices that you take, and at the time, why was I trying to imagine pebbles? Because I couldn't even imagine. It was like what the dream of my life would be. There was no access to vision, having a dream. Other people that try to mess with that as well. They're all being exposed like tower of cards they fall. What is standing is you and your pebbles and your vision and your rosemary and your tomatoes and your pets and your loved ones and your children and the people who've been with you. And all of those who are gone, they guide you. They guide you for when you move, you're not alone. Where they show you where to move, where to go, where there's food, where there's this, where there's all these people. When you leave this food out, they know suddenly they begin to feel, go here, go there, go there. They see food, go here, go there, go there. They see another thing, go here, go there, go there. When they take the power back, and they see more good intuition coming. So I was listening to an intuitive goddess. She's tarot reader, And we were so synchronized today, in coming days, and doing completely different things, but I feel that I want to deliver this message to you, because I want you to have it. I want you to have this information. I want you to begin applying those steps, very simple steps. Okay? Very simple steps, and they make big, giant changes. And if you can't do right now all what you can do, and if you can only set intention, set intention. Have my other videos for the shields, for that. If you look at around October 7, my videos, why I summoned a segment for Algol, Beta Per Se, Procyon, and later Al-Qaeda. Okay, now Lilith, Black Moon Lilith is on Al-Qaeda. Okay. This is what it is. And you are, if you hear this, around a nervous system of people from this life, from other lives, that are whistleblowers, that are survivors, that are thrivers, that are making good things in their lives and in the lives of other people. They're sharing of what to do for when all the Tower of Cards of corruption falls apart with all of their drama. And they got a lot of drama. Okay? Withstanding. So when you expose corruption, you see you're gonna sleep for a night over it, and you're gonna see like gifts. The right moves are gonna come to you, and you're gonna act on them. Meet you in the next episode.